Nigeria's currency has since fell to the lowest on record. This, according to analysts, is due to rising import bill, dollar savings, and accumulation of cryptocurrencies by Nigerians. As for the devaluation of Naira to dollar and what led to it, it is important we know why it is so. I am Olujoke Mosapu on Let's Talk. Hello and welcome. My guest is Barrister Jeremiah Ajibade, a legal practitioner. But before we delve into the program proper, as usual, I'd like to remind you to please subscribe to our YouTube channel, follow us on all of our social media platforms, and enjoy the ride with us. Thank you so much. Thank you for coming again, Barrister Ajibade. It's nice having you here.
Thank you. The player is mine. Thank you for having me around again.
Okay. So Nigerian economy is facing massive foreign exchange crisis. Why is it so?
I'll say that perhaps the biggest crisis faced by investors in the Nigerian economy today is the issue of the foreign exchange. And it is needful to explain this a bit and put it into statistics, into data, and represent them well. But before then, I'd like to state that the crisis has three major dimensions. This crisis we are in already at the moment has three major dimensions. The first is the unprecedented sharp currency depreciation. The second is the liquidity crisis in the foreign exchange market. These manifest in the acute shortage of forex in the official window market. And the third is the volatility of the exchange rate that creates considerable uncertainty and unpredictable for investors. Now, the first leg I'm going to say is that each of these dimensions has their leg and they have their place to value. The issue we're trying to attack here to clarify is why is Nigeria facing foreign exchange crisis? Yeah, these three dimensions as explained. First is the fact that the impact of this crisis has a huge diverse on the Nigerian economy. The unprecedented currency depreciation has a falling implication for the economic players. High cost of production because of the high import dependence of our manufacturing. This country, Nigeria, I'd say that 85 to 90%, if not 100%, of the things we consume in Nigeria is imported. We depend on the foreign countries to supply everything we feed on. If I would not be mistaken, even our education mostly is imported in this country. So it's a lot tough that a country that consumes as a consumer country, it's going to be a little tough, and I mean a very tough one for you to survive on your own currency. The pressure is going to come on your currency, and the survival strength is going to be on the currency of the countries you are trading with. And you should know that most countries of the world are trading in dollars. So either you like it or not, everybody is scared. I would say maybe 2015, you could still see a dollar to a naira at 300 or close to 300. In the parallel market, it's around 1400 and 419 naira to a dollar. In the black market, it's around 660 something naira to a dollar. So the pressure that came on the naira brought a further decadence or a further decay on the naira, which is a result of the three legs I've mentioned. The first leg is that the unprecedented sharp currency depreciation. The House of Representatives they sent a letter to the CBN governor to come and explain why the naira was devaluated. He said it's because of the scarcity of dollar in the market. But you should know that our external reserve, when it comes to our crude oil savings, he said it's eating something 30 something billion. I don't know. That's what CBN said on their website. It's there. It's written almost everywhere. But then we cannot, in reality, juxtapose what the CBN says with the reality of the common Nigerian man. So the over dependency on the dollar created a shortage of the dollar in circulation, and this created a more depreciation on the naira, and then it's telling so hard on the naira at the moment. The second leg of it is the high cost of production. The Under the unprecedented sharp currency depreciation, it has cost a whole lot. First is the high cost of production because of the high import dependence. Everything we import is all the raw materials we use in this country. Many of them are imported. There are just two assembling companies in Nigeria, one owned by Dangote and the other, I think, by Nissan, which most of the things they even use are brought in from the international community, which obviously tell on us in our country. They don't use a Naira. They don't use a Naira for international transaction. They don't use Naira for international business. They use a dollar. I think it's until now that countries like Russia started building their international business, their currency, because of the war going on between Russia and Ukraine. So, in the meantime, the world accepted currency largely on a large scale is a dollar. And because the dollar is so much in shortage in the country, because of the way Nigeria has overspent their excess crude oil account, it has created a heaviness. So the pressure really came so heavily on the dollar, and then it created scarcity. In June 2021, the CBN stopped the sales or the availability of the dollar to the Burundi change because obviously it was already telling on the CBN that the dollar is going to run out of circulation. So the best they could do was to deny the Burundi change, which many of the times the black market comes from the Burundi change, which is a major issue in this whole thing. So the crisis of the dollar, the crisis of foreign exchange in the present country called Nigeria is a product of, well, I'd say that it's an abuse of inability to plan. The government has not been able to give a concrete economic plan. They are always reacting to issues, not a progression structural build-up.
Okay, so let's look at the depreciation in rate of Naira. How is it affecting the people?
As at the time the dollar was, as at early this year, sometimes February, the dollar was 565, I guess. Uh, a young man who has a job, for instance, has a job with a company, maybe a multinational, earns 100,000 per month. Maybe after the time he got this job in 2021, August, he was paid 100,000. After then, the dollar was like 500. And don't forget, like I said, initially, everything we build on, everything we do in this country is reflective on the rate of dollar, is reflective on the black market and the parallel market, because people don't have access to the parallel market many of the time. So people eventually result to go into the black market. And the one thing I also failed to mention the other time is that 2022 is a political year for Nigeria. And because it's a political year for Nigeria, almost all the dollars in circulation were siphoned by politicians in order to be able to pay their way through at the primary elections they had in May, in June, in Abuja. So almost all political parties went into market scouting for dollars. Now, the man earning 100,000 naira in 2021, when dollar was 500, still earns 100,000 in 2022 August, when dollar is now almost 700 naira. And what does that tell us? It tells us that basic things, transportation has gone high. You could go to the Nigerian markets and see what's going on. A transport system where you could take 50 naira, you could take 100 naira bike, or a taxi for 100 naira before. Now, the taxman will tell you the spare part of his car is expensive. He can no longer buy it, he's no longer buying it the same amount he buys it for. So he has the 100 naira to the normal transport. All these old things, the pampers, the food, the rice, the gari, the beans, every Nigerian eats and puts on their table. The commodities in the market, the ability to even put a cloth on yourself, electricity, and all of those things, day by day. But the increment in the salary of this man has not reflected. And so this man is crunchy, is under a serious chain. The pain of how do I survive? This thing is too expensive. My salary is not increasing. So you could see the exodus of Nigeria wanting to find their ways out of Nigeria. Everybody, most people are just, if they are not going to Canada, they're going to Australia, they're going to US, they're going to UK, because they want something that will commensurate the work they put in with the amount they receive.
Okay, now to corroborate what you just said, talking about the dollar's effect on the Nigerian economy and the people in particular, I remember one of the the candidates was being asked about what he was going to do concerning the dollar and naira, especially when it comes to workers' salaries.
Okay, you're right, you're right,
And
you're
he
right.
said that they are being paid in naira, not in dollar, of which everyone disagree because it's actually something that should not be heard from such a person. Now, what would you say about that?
That statement is, in all honesty, I would say that uh, professionalism must be put in place in this interview, in this discussion. Uh, I would have said I felt so disappointed, in all honesty. The day I heard him say that, I felt, you know so much. You don't say it in Naira. He doesn't own. If you own an account in Naira, maybe it's just to show to Nigerians in the deceptiveness of the politicians that, okay, yes, I also have an account in Naira. It's kids and all other words of ease. The last time the Times, New York Times, brought it out that his daughters own millions, mansions and millions worth in the United States. That can he corroborate the fact of where the money came from? But then that's not our topic for discussion today. But what we are saying is, you and I know that the Naira, as long as the telecoms, the textile, the structure of the real estate, the legal frameworks in this country, the banking sector, as long as business is done in this country, all of these organizations live on dollars. As a matter of fact, as I'm talking to you, when you submit a bid to an organization for a job, when you submit a proposal to an organization for a job, Nigerians are no longer quoting Naira as a means of payment. Nigerians are now quoting dollars as a means of payment because most organizations or most persons now know that you cannot so much build your structure on a naira because a naira has a determined end from day one you earn it. A naira has a determined end. Okay, if you have 100 naira, you can be sure that the only thing that can happen to that 100 naira is a degradation, a devaluation, a depreciation. A naira in 100 naira today cannot be kept in your pocket till December. You're in trouble. It shouldn't buy the same worth of what it should purchase in market when you earned it originally. So it is necessary to understand that when this man made this statement, I'm sure he must have made it in person. It mustn't have been so serious about it. It wasn't serious about it because everybody knows.
Okay, now I know you made mention of, you actually talked a bit about what I'm about to ask you right now, but I would like us to actually dig deeper and explain further. So, in the case of the depreciation in dollars, I remember somebody telling me that the amount of money that should be spent in dollars a month is like $20. So it's a difficult situation for Nigerians who are used to transacting internationally or purchasing something internationally to actually pay for it, because if what you're buying is in $100 and you're meant to spend $20 a month, how can that be possible? And we know that these big people are actually transacting, if not every day, in dollars. And so, are you saying what I want you to help separate? Is it these rules, are they for the poor or for the rich?
What you just said now is one of the ways of CBN trying to curb. I heard the chairman of EFCC saying that they would arrest those who are hoarding dollars. And then I laughed. I laughed so seriously. I said, somebody mustn't be advised, maybe his legal team are not advising well, that it's a choice to store currency in a particular, or to store your money in a particular currency. And since the bank on whose platform you have a domiciliary account deemed it fit to offer you that service, it will be incongruent, it will be criminal it will be injustice and illegal to attack an account holder who has decided to store his money in a particular currency against the deficient of the government who has not been able to sustain credibly the currency to which they expect you to keep your money. The truth of the matter is that investors are scared. Investors cannot even, at the moment, most investors cannot even put their money into the country because they are, okay, look at Emirates Airline. You just heard what Emirates said. Emirates said that they were going to reduce their flights from 11 to 6 in Nigeria because they couldn't repatriate their fund. They had $85 billion in Nigeria, and the Nigerian government denied them the opportunity to repatriate. Okay, that's a total discussion for another day. I'm just telling you how desperate the Nigerian government is now to keep dollars within the circulation of this country in order to beat down the Naira. But then, monetary policies are not something you just wake up one morning and just want to enforce and think is going to yield results overnight. Monetary policies are policies that build up with time. In 1983-84, when a Naira is still a bit superior to a dollar, the Nigerian government, because there wasn't a very good plan, the country called Nigeria has always had political interference in the growth of the structures. And because of political interference, there was always a problem. So now the CBN came up and said, everybody must not spend beyond $20 a day. But in recent time, I got a mail from one of my banks. In recent time, I think 3-4 weeks ago, telling me now that I could spend up to $100. But then not all banks. I think just one. I won't mention the name of the bank. They said, "Oh yeah, you cannot spend up to $100. We can give you a card where you can transact up to $100 a day." But the truth still remains: what is $100? If I bring that to Naira, that's like 65, 70,000 Naira. So, what exactly am I transacting abroad that I need 70,000 Naira to purchase? It's a question to place on the serious table of those who are thinkers in this country. What is it that I want to buy in the US? Okay, what's $100 in the US? Even on Amazon, what's $100? Many of the things that you want to buy, if you're going to buy things on Amazon and you want them to be shipped into Nigeria, you buy them $100, then you should be willing to pay like $250 to bring them home for what? And at the end of the day, you want those things to come into Nigeria and be sold for the same amount. But what we are saying is, we should look inward. I tell you, there are better ways Nigeria can be managed. Nigeria has been mismanaged. And I'm just being honest with you. Nigeria has always been mismanaged. And this is not about government alone. And this should sound a note to everybody. This is not about government alone. The mismanagement of Nigeria boils down and goes to the desk of every policy maker, every organization in this country that has found one way or the other to want to do business at all costs, irrespective of the foundations and the integrity that binds the togetherness of my country. Everybody is just looking for ways to get their business done. They don't care if it's done. I've just seen Nigerians tell you, get it done. However it's going to be done, I don't care. Just get it done. So everybody is still entitled to $20 for now. If you own a domiciliary account, some banks have increased to $100. Some banks are still saying, no, they still pay their $20. They want to be able to retain more dollars. And it's also a business for the banks. Because the more you retain dollars, we shouldn't, don't let me talk about the legality of retaining dollars at the expense of the economic growth. But then, it's also a business. Everybody in this whole circle of game, it's a benefit for everybody. It's a benefit to everybody. So the problem is that it becomes a pain for the gate man. It becomes a crying situation for the organizer. It becomes a debacle for the woman hawking bean cake, hawking corn by the roadside. It becomes, because the ricochet of this whole problem, it's not even felt by those who are up there. No, it's felt by people like me. It's felt by people like those young men who are going to stand at the bus stop after we close of business today, and they can't afford to get a good transport system to their homes.
All right, thank you so much for that. Let's quickly go on this break, and when we come back, we continue from there. Please stay with us. Welcome back. The program is Let's Talk. If you're just joining us, and we've been discussing why Naira is falling in Nigeria. So, and I've been speaking with Barrister Ajibade. Thank you so much, Barrister Ajibade, for standing by. It's nice having you around.
Thank you.
Okay, I actually remember that someone said something about when it comes to this dollar, there's so much going around. Or some said the 710 increase is, exchange rates is false and all. But now, who did what, and what was done that could have been avoided to help avoid this issue of dollar depreciation?
You see, the forex policy management is a very serious issue. The forex policy management is a very serious issue. And I'm going to say that the sharp depreciation of the Naira exchange rate in the parallel market remains a cause for concern. Honestly, I must tell you. The sharp depreciation of the Naira exchange rate in the parallel market remains a cause for concern. It is a trend that should not be allowed to continue, and all necessary steps need to be taken urgently to stem the slide of this volatility. We need to stem the slide of this volatility, and the only corporation, the constitutional corporation, is the Central Bank of Nigeria. I can't wake up now to say I want to write a policy, a forex policy management. Who am I? I'm not even a subcontractor of the CBN, but I'm in Nigeria. Whatever goes forth and back affects me, and I'm going to be a Nigerian forever. But the basic thing we're saying is the CBN needs to go back to its drawing board. But they are Gustos, who used to be the Director General for the Office of Budget and the Budget Planning in Nigeria, once had to say that the management policy of the central bank is not good enough. Professor Patutomi granted an interview a few days ago with Chinua Kimbaloye, and then he said something so clearly. He said the current administration has shown so grossly the lack of management. Um, um, Pastor Elijah was reading his statistics in his church a few days ago, and I was privileged to listen to what he said. He said, when this government came in 2015, the external excess crude account was standing at 3.6 billion, if I'm not mistaken. That's what he said. And then he said, by 2015, thereabout, at the end of 2015, in 6 months after taking over government, August, that account has been reduced to 2 point something billion dollars. Now, that account that was built, painstakingly built by Obasanjo felt that if we have a budget and our budgetary account, okay, we peg our budget at, let's say, $50 per barrel, and eventually oil rose to $70 or $80 per barrel. Let's take out the $30 per barrel. That was not in our appropriation view. That's the budget. It wasn't in our appropriation view. Let's cut it out and save it in a different account. Let's build a future for our children. Let's save this money for the unborn ones, so that if there could be emergency, there's something to fall back on. Countries like Norway, countries like Finland, go and see the excess crude oil. Go and see the crude oil account. Go and see the reserve of the United States. Go and see what countries of the world will do and have done in order to safeguard the future of their country. They should look into instead of looking for a miracle, a magic overnight, adopt a flexible exchange rate policy regime. It should be clarifies that this is not a devaluation proposition. No, I'm not saying they should devalue currency or the naira, but rather it is a price mechanism that reflects the demand and supply fundamentals in the forex market that which allows for rate adjustment as and when necessary. It's quite easy. It's going to be easy. It will accommodate the rate. It will accommodate. It will be able to allow for the flexibility. They were saying adopt a flexible exchange rate policy regime. Don't make it rigid. Don't be stiff with your policy. It's for the good of the country. The good thing about it is that the CBN is going to remain. The management are going to change from time to time. But then we're saying that do something that the next management or the next administration or the next person who's going to come on board will be able to tow a direction of the policy, not something they would say, no, this is wrong. We are geniuses in Nigeria that can manage this institutions quite very well, and then posterity will not judge us wrongly.
You know, Nigeria is a great country, and we
Yeah,
trust on
very
God
good.
that He's going to give us leaders who truly indeed have the best interest of Nigeria at heart. Finally, what would you like to say to Nigerians?
Oh, yes. At this time, I'd like to say to Nigerians that we are in this together. Honestly, we're in this together. I'm not living in the UK and the US. I'm living in Nigeria. I'm somewhere in Nigeria. So we're in this together. But then I would say is that we can keep our strength. One thing Nigerians are known for across the world is strength, the faith, the hope of wanting to blaze high and keep fighting. Let's keep our strength. Let's keep our spirit. Let's keep our faith. Let's keep our hope. And let's keep our nation. This is not the time for us to break up, but I understand the insecurities flying everywhere in this world or in this country at the moment. I understand the government is trying to do what it can, but then they've not been able to provide adequate solution. I understand that jobs are scarce, but then I'm going to say let's keep our hopes high, let's keep our faith, let's keep our trust, let's keep our passion. And some days, I tell you, some days we'll build a nation we look forward to. I promise you, we'll build a nation. The nation where I was telling a friend this morning. I said I look forward to a time when people from over the world would apply for master's degrees or postgraduate studies in Nigeria. I really, really look forward to that, and it will happen in our lifetime. Not when we're gone, it will happen. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much for your time and the wonderful discussion, and thank you to Albert for coming on the show. It's indeed for watching. Actually, it's indeed a great privilege to always bring to you wonderful topics that is worthy of discussion, and I hope that you've been able to learn one or two things from all that has been said. Until next time, when I come your way again with another exciting topic. I remain Oluja Kemisako. Bye for now.